All right, ladies and gentlemen, it seems that we have our first actual negative in Battlefield 6, and unfortunately, it's Rush. Let's get into it. I'm not going to beat around the bush, guys. This iteration of Rush in Battlefield 6 seems to me to be probably the worst implementation of it that we've seen in a modern Battlefield game. And I'm not sure what would make it absolutely fixable, but I do have some ideas. First, the elephant in the room. This version of Rush is only 12v12, which is getting a lot of flack online, and I can't disagree. I have my gripes as well, but the 12v12 format makes me feel like something more akin to, say, like Call of Duty. And in fact, this game mode is the first time in the beta I've been forced into one of these modes that people complain feels like COD. And I actually see the argument now, and at bare minimum, I feel like Rush should always be a 24v24. And that's just the bare minimum. The sightlines are atrocious on some of these maps. I can't remember a time in Battlefield history that the MCOM sites were not only so close to each other, but also had direct line of sight to each other. If you've played this already, you'll know that for most of the maps, the sights for the MCOMs are quite visible from one another, making attacking a pain. Because you'll not only be dealing with the defenders from the objective you're attacking, but also the objective you're not attacking. This to me says that unfortunately Rush feels like an afterthought instead of being its own thing for the devs, which is a shame because I know it's a fan favorite, mine included. Another thing to note is that most of the maps played on this need major rebalancing to defender spawning. I never run into this issue with breakthrough on these exact maps, but you will constantly be fighting not only people on the objectives, but also typically people coming from behind. Now, I'm not saying that a well thought out flank isn't earned, but in this case, it feels like the game is basically just handing it to them, allowing them to spawn behind you in a sector that you just took because it's not technically ground gained for your team. The only map I didn't deal with this on is the one that you're watching currently, Liberation Peak, which I find a bit ironic because this exact map on Breakthrough is constantly shit on just for the overwhelming amount of snipers. But genuinely, this is the only map that brings me a glimpse of that old Rush feel. Hey guys, real quick, Editor Christian here. At the time of editing this video together, I checked X during my break, and I noticed that Westie responded to a post from Battlefield. Apparently, Battlefield had reduced the MCON timers from 45 seconds to 30 seconds, which I had not even realized while playing, because actually this footage was recorded at the time that this change was made. So I checked X, and I'm glad to see that he's actually agreeing with some of the things I've mentioned prior in this video that I recorded earlier. But he also gives another really good point I had not thought of, and I'm going to put that on screen now. He mentions that they need to massively scale back the forward defending line of each sector so the attackers cannot be so easily spawn trapped. And after thinking about it for a little bit, and some of the games I had this morning, I 100% agree with him. Spawn trapping is crazy right now in this game mode. So good on Westie for providing some valuable feedback directly to the team in an actual positive way, because those devs are currently getting shit on in their comments, which I don't think is fair because so far they've done really well with the game. So I'll have that post linked in the description so you can read through all of his points, or if you just want to read through some of the guys trolling and kind of fucking with the devs, you can also read those too. But I do think that this is just a miss and an overall good game, so we shouldn't be giving them too much grief about it, and they still have time to fix a lot of these things before launch. So I do actually have to give credit where it's due. So when I first hopped on the Rush for the first time in this beta weekend, in the moments I wasn't frustrated with all the aforementioned issues, I was actually really glad to hear that the MCOMs had the original alarms from like Battlefield 3, and I think actually even Battlefield 4. And for a second there, I just got this crazy nostalgic feeling of just staying up late and playing like a shit ton of Battlefield, and Rush was my main mode, that and Breakthrough. I actually wasn't like the craziest into Conquest. Not as much as I am now anyways, but when I was younger, I was really into Rush and Breakthrough. They just felt very objective-oriented in comparison to the all-out warfare modes like Conquest. I think that's also why I really like Battlefield 1's operations, but we are not going to get into this conversation. This is a long conversation. I'm not going to go on a rant. But anyways, I got that crazy nostalgic feeling of playing like that, so I just wanted to give props to the dev team for that. That was amazing to hear, and it's actually all around throughout the beta. I've been noticing that there's like quite a few sounds from the older games, so that stuff is really cool. Anyways, how do you guys feel about the current state of Rush in Battlefield 6? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing as we navigate this new Battlefield together. I'm Cenox, and I'll see you all in the next video.
charges on Alpha.
Objective marked. We need you supporting the attack.
Charges on Alpha.
You're leaving the AO. Return to combat. Take out any remaining hostiles. Objective marked. We need you supporting the attack.
We've set charges on Alpha.
Set charges on Bravo. Hostiles disarmed our charges on Objective Alpha. We've taken out Bravo. We've armed explosives on Alpha.
Let's go!
Objective marked. We need you supporting the attack.
Hostiles have disarmed our charges on Objective Alpha.
Throwing frag!
We're losing soldiers. Stay sharp. charges on objective Alpha.